recording started.
Probably full bar.
Call the meeting to order. To give our invocation if you would like to.
Father, thanks for gathering us here together tonight. I know it's just a special meeting for a special thing. Hopefully we have the wisdom, get your wisdom and knowledge, and make the right decisions. And thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
If you would stand for pledge allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And next we have roll call. You want to do that?
Sure.
Perfect.
Noah?
Jeff,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Lee,
Here.
Mike,
Here.
Christie here.
And Tracy is absent. Next, we have the approval of the agenda. Pretty simple agenda, one thing on there. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Noah, do we have support?
Support.
Support by, I think Lee made it. Any discussion among the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next, we have our first public comment. Would anyone like to make a public comment? You're welcome. Seeing none, we'll move on to our decision items. We have the fire department building construction and repairs. What's included in here is the request for proposal from Alan and two different quotes. The first proposal is higher, the $349,000. It's included the metal roofing, a few other things, and a second one for $172,000. Alan, if you would like to go into this proposal for us a little bit.
Sure, thank you. Couple things, obviously, my request for consideration is a little lengthy, but I want you guys, like I said before, for new trustees, I will never come to this board without 100% accuracy in everything I present. So I may get a little long-winded with that, but I want you to understand, especially some of the back history. I'll get into that here in a few minutes. As again, in my presentation, I mentioned that the building is almost 30 years old. It's like your home, you probably need a new roof. You probably need some things done. We're at that time. If you go back to 2017, and remember we did an equipment millage. The department only operated on an operating millage. It's a single one operating millage. And in 2017, we went to the voters and asked for 0.75 of a mil to get money to replace apparatus. Also in that, while we were thinking ahead, I asked and proposed to the board that they accept that we put the building repair in that as well. Meaning if I don't need to buy a fire truck, I still get money in. I can use that money to fix the building. First 3 years of that millage was to buy the new fire trucks. We spent $1.5 million. You're right, I did. But I did that because that's what we needed to do to get our ISO rating down, which is cheaper for homeowners. And then again, to bring stuff like that to the modern technology we needed. Now that we're done with that for the next probably 6 to 8 years, but that millage will need to be renewed in 26. But in the next 6 to 8 years, we don't have any large expenditure apparatus to be done. When I did the first time doing this, when I put money into fund balance, what I did is I basically gave ourselves a no interest loan. I would take the tax money, I would pay for part of it out of one budget, part of it out of the next budget. And that would allow us to have that 0.75, which comes out to about $168,000 a year we get in. I was able to use that to be able to pay the apparatus. So again, we never had to take a loan out. We never had to borrow. We borrowed against ourselves, basically, which is completely legal. The auditor loves when I do it. He speaks every year about it and says it's the smartest way to do it because it doesn't cost us anything. And then we take some money out of that and we dump that into one of the funds that we have in the bank. Michigan Class, I think we have it in now. We just had moved a year or so ago, moved about $200,000 into that just to build some interest. And then when we need it, we can bring it back. Now we're into that next cycle. We haven't had to buy the apparatus, so that number is being a little more significantly comfortable. I'm comfortable that they tell you in good auditing practices that we should have at least between 6 and 8 months of fund reserve in case taxes don't roll in. We're that and then a little bit more. My fear is, and this is why I appreciate you all spending a few minutes on Friday. We have a few things coming up. Obviously, we just had the millage that passed asking for full-time firefighters. As most know, going through the process we just went through here, with the staff trying to work and do things daily, it became very inconducive sometimes to do business. For us, once I put that staff in place, again, it can be very inconducive. The second part of that is that time frame. We all know, especially if it's into most business where you're purchasing product. Typically, beginning of the fourth quarter, which will start in October, prices will increase between 3 and 5%. That being said, if we wait until the spring, we're going to jump an additional 3 to 5% on each one of these items. Again, cost saving measure.
Yeah.
Second part is that, again, I sped this up. I could have waited until September 11th at the next board meeting, but my thought process is talking with DL Morris, it's about a 4 to 6 week project. Those of you that know, second week of October is our fire prevention night. We bring 600 plus people into our building. I don't want to be in a construction phase with 600 to 800 people. I just don't want that. Speaking with DL Morris and with Adam this morning, we're pretty confident that it can happen. There's a couple of things that have changed today, and I'll get into those here in a second. Again, as Jeff spoke, we have two quotes. One being a $349,000 quote, and that's for $226,000 of that being towards a metal roof. I understand a metal roof lasts longer. I understand that it is probably a little better. I don't know if it's fiscally responsible. Because if you think about a 40 to 50 year roof, that puts that building now almost 80 years old. The roof might be standing, but we don't know if the rest of the building will for 40 years, right? So in my opinion, I don't think it's worth the $179,000 increase to do a metal roof. I think another 20 years with a regular shingled roof, I'm perfectly fine with. The other things, there's a cause and effect, and as I put in my request, you'll understand that the heating system vented through the roof. Well, the way the heating system is built in 1995 wasn't the best. And what happens is there's one stack that comes through the roof to two different ports. And what it does, it makes a point. And at that point, if any leak happens, then it runs both ways. And what it's done is now caused damage to the not the roof structure, but the ceiling structure inside the bay. And if you walk into the bay, you'll see there's actually spots of black mold. There is spots where it is falling down. I don't want to come in one night and have the drywall on top of a fire truck. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So the roof caused the ceiling damage, and the old equipment that is obsolete is causing weight on that ceiling that we don't need anymore. Again, it's called a climate vent system, which is an exhaust system. And I won't get into technical things, but the DEF systems we have now have knocked down the emissions. But those hoses, they don't even make that system anymore. So why do we have it hanging if it never even make it? So we might as well take it down. We don't need it. Get rid of it and scrap it. I don't know. Get some money back for scrapping it probably. Then it would lead to what I'd like to do is the floors. And the reason why I want to do the floors is if similar to this, an epoxy floor, but the epoxy floor, ours currently, the epoxy, which wasn't really truly epoxy back in the day, has now failed. Basically, it is now being the floor crack. And I don't want to have any more significant damage over time of us keep parking fire trucks and crack the floor even worse. And now we got foundation issues. Putting this epoxy on will reseal all of that and keep it from going anywhere. So I do feel that's somewhat of an important part. Today I spoke with Adam from DL, and we realized, and this is something that had been brought to my attention, I know it's there. If you look at some of our apparatus doors, the bay doors, there's windows. Those windows, the seals have begun to fail. And in this quote, it talks about painting the doors. The doors need to be repainted. We'd like to change the color, but they're starting to fade after 20 plus years and if you really look, some of them have been struck before, so they've got some damage to them, so they're different color panels. Panels are not the same. Figure if we're doing most of this, we might as well have them fix that as well. So this is really, yes, an upgrade, but more of just a maintaining. And again, I'd like to have this done before the staff comes in April. But I'd also really like it to be done before fire prevention, not for the simple fact that I'm trying to rush. I want to beat the winter because that happened this morning was when Adam and I were talking. The back of our building, due to the way it's on the property with the sun and such, but the way it's built and the way the winds come across from east to west on us sometimes, what we found is that we have a big ice dam that happens every year on the backside of the firehouse. Upwards of almost 6 inches of ice that damage and over time has caused damage inside of the building that we've fixed, but it keeps coming back. They realized it was originally when the building was built that it was built incorrectly. It was a bad spec, but I can't change the pitch of the roof, but we can change the way the roof drains by moving some gutters and some stuff. So we talked about that today. That's not included in this price, but the second one is a revision. If you go to page 2 of the revision, you'll see it says alternates. And on there it talks about some of the deducts. And what that means is we deduct some of these things, it actually makes it cheaper. We have, if you look at the first one on page 2, you'll see the larger deducts. There were 7 deducts. We already took 2 of those out. 2 of them being the metal roof and the second being what's called the flake in this floor. I don't really think I need to spend almost $7,200 to make the floor sparkle. I don't think that's, again, a good fiduciary thing to do, in my opinion. So I knocked that out and I knocked the $162,000 out to change back to the lower price to get us down to that 179 number. Now, the issue with that, I'm sorry, the 172 number. The issue is today I did not. Scott didn't have time, but he doesn't believe we'll come anywhere near back to our even the 179. He doesn't think it would be that much to fix those windows and the seals on the doors. He doesn't think it'll be that much, but it would still be under what I'm requesting. I did that on purpose because we don't know what's going to happen. They take the shingles off. The roof could be bad. I don't know, but he doesn't believe that me asking for the amount I am will put me over. Go back to that millage, 179 a year we get roughly between 175 and 179 depending on assessed values. We'll have plenty to cover the amount I'm asking. I always like to ask a little high because it makes me feel much better when I come back and give you money back at the end of the project. It just makes it a great fiscal responsibility. My second piece to that which happened today, was I began to think about the flooring and how the flooring system works and how it gets laid down. The issue becomes, where do you put the apparatus? I had some concerns of leaving apparatus outside. Speaking with Adam today, there's 2 ways we can do this. One, we can do half of the building at one time. The smaller vehicles, the boat, the Ranger, I'm not real uncomfortable those being outside for a few days. But if we do half and half, the project will take about 5 days that we can't be on the floor. We can't park on it. We can't walk on it. We can't do any of that for about 5 days. Basically, the Monday, I'll use a week. Monday, Tuesday would be the grinding and the prepping. We can still drive on it. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we can't drive on it because they're going to put the coat down. 1 coat the first day, 1 coat the second day, last coat the third day. The third day, the floor must sit for 48 hours untouched. That puts us at, again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 2 days of rest, Sunday, Monday, or Saturday, Sunday. That leaves us with a 5-day window. The apparatus have to be out of the building. And I struggle a little bit. I'm still deciding that I don't have a good feeling of leaving probably $2.5 million with the fire truck sitting outside just for 4 days. It kind of scares me. We can do it. But option 1 is to do half and half. I can leave the 4 big ones in. The problem with that is it becomes a 12-day project instead of a 6-day project or a 7-day project. I have to leave them out 12 days because it would be this way, then flip it this way, and then that cuts me back in closer to my September and October 11th date. Option 2 is something that I came up with today, and I've already spoken with the director of maintenance, is that I can park the 2 major ones inside the maintenance building. So they would be able to be out during the day, and then at night after 5 o'clock, we would park the 2 big ones inside. The remaining 2 would be out back and somewhat secured. People aren't going to see them. Because the third phase to that is our lockers that are on the apparatus for people in the firehouse, there's our red gear lockers. Those gear lockers are where we keep all of our stuff. Just stop it. It's testing the front door. It's a Friday night test. They have to check the rig every night. But the other problem is that those lockers we have, I can't put those outside. The employees need their gear. So my thought process was if I put the two out back, I spoke with Nate. He was comfortable if I took all those gear lockers and put them inside the maintenance building. Pulled the little red pickup truck out. They would sit right in the middle. The staff would just go out there. We have access to that building. We'd have to move a couple of garage door openers. But then again, I'm more comfortable for those, and it won't affect him because again, I can pull him out during the day if he needs to do his stuff. And again, it's a Wednesday, a Thursday, and a Friday, and he's going to worry about it. And he's not going to have a problem with it Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night sitting inside. He was comfortable with that. I'm pretty comfortable with that. I have brought it to my staff to ask them what they think because again, they're the ones that are going to have to be figuring out where we're running to get fire trucks, and because I don't want to. I still have to provide a service. I can't make it so uncomfortable that it doesn't work. So we're weighing those options out. I'm just not sure which way that's going to go yet. But I need to have the board, I guess at that point decide if you know, allow me to pick the option I would like to do. It won't cost us anything different. The only increase is if we do it over a 12-day period, there's a $3,600 increase for that company to do stuff. So if we do it all at once and do the 5-day, 7-day technically, but the 5-day gig, I'm staying at the original number. If not, it'll be a $3,000 increase. I don't think it's worth $3,000. That's $1,000 a night to park them outside and figure something out. Find a way. So it isn't a big deal, but I need to let Adam know as soon as possible if he'll be to schedule it. With that being said, if you approve this tonight, they'll start Monday morning. He's ready to start. You know, have a crew lined up to start Monday morning to start the demolition phase. Then we'll do the removal of demolition, which figures a couple of days, 2 or 3 days to prep the ceiling, and then paint the ceiling and paint the doors. Then the roof and then the floor would probably be last, but they may be able to do the floor and the roof together. He feels, and he encourages me to go early. They'll pretty much guarantee that we won't get to that October 11th date where we need to have the building back to normal. There won't be a dumpster out front, intermodals, we'll have it back to normal operations. So again, with that being said, going through everything, I'd asked the board to allow me to use again $190,000 out of the equipment fund, it was listed to be used for the building for the purpose of upgrading and updating the facility to make it again a little safer for all of us. That's all I have. Any questions from?
I think that's pretty thorough. Are there any questions?
I was just gonna say for the securement of your equipment while it's out there for that week, I think, and you've got good relationships with the local law enforcement, just have them.
Increase their presence, and that would probably be something I would do. They come out here, typically if you drive by and you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning, they like to come in here, especially when it's slow, and they're allowed to do things. And again, it won't affect our operations from the apparatus bay inward. We can still be in there and function and do our reports. Nothing's gonna happen once we come on inside the apparatus bay. But that my thought process was to do something along the lines of, hey, can you please increase as I have to email them anyways to say, please don't come in the building. Because a lot of them come in and wash their cars or come in that back way to use the washroom. I don't want them to walk in and stick to the floor. So I was going to do that. And in that same sentence with them was ask if they would increase their staffing or increase their presence just so we can make sure that happens.
Good.
Any other questions? Comments?
Do you want to move it from class over to,
Whichever you think we need to do.
or do you want to use general fund, or did you want to use
However you
anything?
think would be the easiest. I don't want to take too much out of class because we're getting a good rate. But I know taxes are going to start to come in, so we can put it right back into that. I know I think it was just about 200 we
You're not
transferred.
requesting anything from ARPA then?
No, I don't. Sure, ARPA would be nice. And this is going to sound really weird. That I explained to all of you, I'm not a politician. It would be nice to not have to use my own funds, but we went to our constituents and asked them to give us funds to fix the building. So why would I just keep building a bigger nest egg? When I ask them for money? And I would love it, then I wouldn't have to spend my money, but I wouldn't have asked if I did, yeah. But I don't wanna not ask for money. Again, you've given me two, we're very grateful for the two
Okay.
ARPA ideas. I just don't, I know there are some other things the township wants to do. I don't want you to miss out on your opportunities because you don't have that specific millage where I have a specific millage that we, again, asked our constituents, and I would have a real hard time, some of them coming in and saying, well, why do we use ARPA money? We know we have a few that don't like when we use it, to say, well, I'm already paying taxes for you to fix the building, why are you using it?
Right.
So
Makes sense.
I appreciate the comment. Again, if you wanted to, never gonna say no. But I also understand that from my perspective and ethically to me, that I've asked the citizens for that money. I should not just sock it away. I'm not gonna spend it because I have it. I'm gonna spend it because it needs to be done, and it needs to be done right. And I think that's the most ethical way in my book.
Good. Any other questions? All right, roll call vote, or did someone have some?
Or I guess just one thing before, because we don't have a motion yet, right?
That's
Do I need to be specified then, Elton, where, okay, like this, you guys can figure that out, kind of thing.
As far as the M class and that type of stuff
Yeah,
goes?
that's probably just figured out. what-
Yep, we can do
It should
that.
come out of the equipment millage fund, so
Right.
however we transfer that money, it really, I don't believe affects the board.
Just wanna make sure.
No,
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that.
Oh, good,
All right.
because if you wanted to use ARPA, we would have to bring up another resolution and that wouldn't be happen because we don't have it tonight.
Yeah, that's,
So that would delay it if we did it that way.
All right, new guy on the block, what's ARPA?
So ARPA was one of the measures, Trump had done the CARES Act through all the COVID stuff. When Biden got in, the ARPA one was passed. So it's specifically supposed to be for infrastructure for small municipalities, ended up being for everything. But the feds had dispersed money and for local municipalities, it went to the states and then went from the state to us. So about 146.
COVID relief, basically.
About $846,000 came to us. We spent some on roads, we've spent some on a decent amount on this building, we've spent some on different equipment, things like that.
So we're not at risk of losing any of those funds.
No,
I come from an agency where sometimes if you didn't use money, they took it back.
there's aspects of that, so it has to be allocated by the end of 2024, it has to be spent by the end of 2026. So I have, I've already in the past resolution, the just previous one, anything that doesn't get allocated in time is allocated towards roads, just in case, so that we don't miss that deadline. And then so those funds can be used out through 2026.
Mr. Mayor, ARPA is the American Rescue Plan, is what he called it. Again, it was CARES was the COVID relief, and then the ARPA was the same thing to try to rebuild infrastructure. It was very,
It's
very.
fast more as an economic measure rather than an emergency health measure like CARES, but different than those major federal political things happening there. So
and I move to approve the fire department use of $190,000 of the equipment millage funds to complete upgrades and needed repairs to the firehouse.
support by Nola. Any other discussion on the board? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mike,
Yes.
Tracy, no. Nola? Yes. Lee,
Yes.
Christie, yes. Jeff,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Motion passes. Just want to mark on that Tracy's not a no, she just absent. Yep.
Thank you.
Next, that passes. Next, we move on to our second public comment. Does anyone want to make public comment? Is there any board comments on anything?
Congratulations, I'm looking forward to this being done.
We're excited. It's gonna be some work, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, with color.
Yeah.
So, yes, so well, yes. We're looking at, again, with the increase in the staff happening next year, this will give them some work time. The doors will be red, the bay doors will be red, the roof will be kind of a grayish, darker gray. And the floor, we haven't decided yet. I don't wanna be too bold, but I don't wanna be where it's gonna show like dirt, so we're debating. The question was, the ceiling currently is a kind of a white, we're thinking either an off-white or a light gray, so it just helps hide some of that cobwebs. But that we said we had to worry about the day before, we weren't too concerned about it, but for sure the doors are gonna be red. That was the unanimous thing. Most of our house doors are red, and why they never were else. But we'll try to make it not look hideous.
Red floor, red floor.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Noah, do we have support? Support by Lee, and discussion among the board. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Thank you.
Adjourned.
Thank you for spending your Friday with me for a few moments.